we're kind of taking in the info. I think we understood that there was something wrong with Kyle Tucker for a long time, and we knew that he had hurt his finger. It turns out it's a hairline fracture in his hand. We learned more yesterday, better explanation of maybe why this has gone so awry, why there's been such a slump. And David asked a great question this morning. You know, in the NFL, if you got an injury report, it's all about making sure that nobody is getting close to players to figure out injury news that isn't known by everyone. It's about preventing gamblers from impacting the sport as much as anything else. Why isn't there that kind of clarity in baseball? I mean,
integrity.
We got a couple guys
Injury
who have been suspended over stuff. I'm just saying. I mean, it really bothers me that they didn't kind of come clean on this one.
Yeah, it certainly would be better, but they're in the vast majority that does not reveal injuries. I mean, nobody worse at it than the Yankees. But I think every team, all the players play tough, and don't want to admit anything's wrong. And I don't know, it's all kind of a macho thing, but there's no real reason. It's not like other teams are going to be trying to re-injure his finger or his hand or whatever. It makes no sense. There's no good reason for this. They should reveal the injuries. I agree with you.
It's a very odd situation, John, because as this saga has played out, and they said that Kyle Tucker was dealing with mental fatigue, and so he would take days, plural, days off. He has, and the Cubs are 3-0 without Kyle Tucker. So I wonder where this is headed next, how they address this today. It's been a fun week in Chicago.
Yeah, well, that's probably a small sample size. I get that you cite that statistic, but I mean, if he's fully healed, he is one of the most consistent players, other than this injury, over his career, and an outstanding player. I would keep playing him. I don't think there's if he's 100%, keep playing him. I know he's 2 for his last 25, but he'll be back. He'll be back, and they need him. They need him to be good. They're not winning the World Series resting Kyle Tucker for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I guess the thing that kind of makes you wonder is, what's the relationship like between him and the team now? He clearly didn't want this revealed. It's gotten out. He clearly wanted to play through it, and he couldn't. And now you wonder, he was booed the last time we saw him at Wrigley. It's just the fans react emotionally, as you well know. And I think that, this is a guy that's headed to a big payday, maybe not as big as before, which would be unfair, but that's just the way some people will react. And, they brought up a guy, in Casey that is their top prospect, and you wonder, could he be the guy that takes over when all is said and done?
Yeah, I wouldn't guess that there's a bad relationship just because they confirmed a report that he does have this injury. That would be nutty. There's no reason for him to be upset at the team for that. That said, he's a few months from free agency. He certainly is having, I would assume this is probably his worst statistical season. I do think that he does have a good excuse, even if he doesn't want to admit it. But this could be another Wrigley casualty. I mean, look at Bellinger. He's been much, much more powerful in Yankee Stadium than he was at Wrigley the previous year, where he had 9 home runs. This year he's got over 20 already. So, and I do think generally when this is a player of this magnitude is in a spot for 1 year, and is now a free agent in a couple months, it's pretty unlikely that they're able to sign him. I'm not going to say it's 0 or 10% or that low, but I would say, let's be realistic. It's got to be less than 50% at this point.
John, where do you stand in terms of just overall your baseball philosophy when you look at teams and you look at a player like Kyle Tucker and the impact one guy, and I guess in the Dodgers it might be Ohtani or Mookie Betts, and whatever it is, Judge in New York with the Mets, Soto with the Mets, and Judge with the Yankees. One player's effect when he's hitting as well as he possibly can on other people in the lineup. Do you think that Kyle Tucker slumping affected other people, like we gave him credit for helping other people succeed early on?
I don't think that's a major impact. I really don't. I mean, it's nice to have Aaron Judge batting behind you. I mean, that's an extreme example. Other than that, I don't think so. I don't think one player pulls players up or down. The Cubs, let's face it, were outperforming over the first 3 months of the season. Their offense was about the best in baseball, and we'd said all along that the Dodgers should have the best offense in baseball. The Yankees' offense should be more prolific. They're probably a top 5 or 7 offense, but they were outperforming, and they're not just going down. They're regressing to the mean at this point, I think.
Yeah, it's been, obviously Pete Crow Armstrong was on an MVP track at one point, and he's been in a terrible slump, and Seiya Suzuki has stopped hitting. Ian Happ has struggled this year. I think if you go up and down the lineup, the strange thing is that Matt Shaw, who they sent back down, brought back up, he's been as good as anyone, and he kind of helped them again, saved them a bit yesterday. They needed everything they got because that Brewers team, they just don't go away. They just hang around, and they're always they had the bases loaded at the end of the game yesterday, losing by a run. They're a crazy, weird story that's out there that just doesn't make all the sense in the world. And now the Cubs have beaten them 3 straight times with a chance to make it 4 today. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's baseball, I guess. But yeah, I agree on the Brewers. I mean, it is amazing to see this team in a bottom third payroll, the smallest market in the game, trading away or letting their biggest stars go, whether that be Hader or Burns or Adames, and then now being the best team in baseball, and they have been that. And if you look at the stats, I mean, they do the little things better than anybody. I saw they have 20 more infield hits than any other team. They run the bases better on average than anybody. They're fastest team. They're just amazing at the little things. They're a solid team. I mean, they have some stars, but Yelich isn't the MVP that he was, but he's really good. Churrio's been out, but he's a good player. Sorry to bring up Vaughn. He's been pretty good lately. Everybody who goes there plays well. They definitely have a very good manager. They've made they weren't at the deadline, but even before the deadline, the Vaughn and the Priester pickups were outstanding. It's an amazing story, particularly having seen their first few games against the Yankees where they gave up 20 runs a game. It was nuts, and they've just done an amazing job.
We saw Jacob Misiorowski last night, John, and it seems like he has struggled relative to his success early in the season. The last couple times out, he had lost a little command last night. How much can the Brewers count on the Miz down the stretch?
Well, he's a rookie, so it's a fascinating watch. I mean, to see a guy who's a starting pitcher throwing 102, 103 miles an hour, it's certainly very entertaining. But I wouldn't count on him. I personally, I didn't get the All-Star tab. I didn't understand that, and even the excuse that 20 people had turned it down, and people want to see him play. I don't know why you need 14 pitchers, or is it 13 pitchers when it's a 9-inning game and no more than a 9-inning game. I don't understand these very stringent all-star rules, but I mean, he's going to be a very good pitcher at the major league level at some point. But I mean, they have their top pitchers are Peralta and Quintana and the veterans. I wouldn't count on him being a major factor for them. They still have a very good pitching staff. The bullpen has been, statistically better than anybody in terms of not blowing saves. They got a lot going for them, but I'm not looking as the Miz as the savior, as some people saw that.
John, I'm curious. That we talked to Pat Murphy earlier in the week and asked him about the Vaughn turnaround, and we'd heard a story that he told him that swing at anything that's not in the zone and you're going back down. And he said he kind of confirmed that. And I was like, well, how did he react? And he said, well, it was kind of a one-sided conversation. He just told him that. And we see Vaughn is like a completely different player. Pretty extraordinary that you can send that message, have it received, and get that kind of lift from a guy that, seemingly had to go from the South Side. It was terrible.
I mean, Murphy is amazing. The pocket pancakes, everything that he got going for him. It's a very entertaining guy. We've had him on our podcast. He's certainly an amusing fellow, but he's obviously a terrific motivator. And knows the game. It's just a great story. He was briefly interim manager in San Diego. They loved him, but didn't give him a chance to be a full-time manager. He was a success at Notre Dame and at Arizona State, but here he is in his mid-60s, and over the last year and a half, he's been obviously the best manager in the game. He's going to be the manager of the year for the second year in a row. That does not happen very often. So, I give him an amazing amount of credit. I do think it's a small sample size on Vaughn. I wouldn't, jump off the bridge yet. I don't know that he's going to be a superstar, but he certainly was the number 3 pick overall, right after Bobby Witt Jr. That was bad happenstance that they had the number 3 pick and saw the team ahead of him take Bobby Witt Jr. But I think he's going to be a solid major leaguer. It was certainly a good trade, but I don't think he's going to be the superstar that we've seen over the first month in Milwaukee.
John, before I let you go, what's going on with Zach Wheeler? That's a big blow to the Phillies. Could really affect the NL race and the postseason. That's
scary stuff.
Scary and unexpected.
Yeah, I was very glad to see that they removed the blood clot, so they have it under control in terms of his personal life. That is the best news possible. In terms of the season, they're not saying. I don't think they know at this point whether it's possible he'll be back at some point in the season or for the playoffs. I wouldn't count on it, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm just guessing at this point. I still think they're a very good team and a real threat because Harper, Schwarber, they still have an ace with Christopher Sanchez. They can call up Painter, who's the second-ranked pitching prospect in baseball, not performing great, a 5 ERA in Lehigh Valley right now. But I still think they can win it with what they've got. But, certainly I don't think they can count on him for this year. But it's great news that his health is regained and he will be okay, at least in terms of his personal life. That was the best news out of that.
John, we'll let you go, and this is a much larger question. I'm just curious, when you hear about MLB realignment, do you feel like that's a very serious thing that's bound to happen, or is this a distraction with labor issues in the offing? I mean, it seems insane to me, some of the stuff, just because you're changing the whole game. I mean, the game has changed. I get it. Everybody plays everybody. But there are rule books and there are things that have happened forever in baseball.
Right. I'm old, not only old, but old school, so I don't want to see the leagues all changed around. I definitely want the integrity of the NL and the AL to stay, but I've seen some guesses on how they can realign and where only I saw one guess, and sorry to give them publicity, but The Athletic, somebody there, I think it's Stephen Nesbitt, had suggested a realignment that keeps the integrity of the leagues, and only Colorado and Tampa switch leagues. And maybe it's not as geographically perfect as some of the other guesses I've seen, but I like that much more. I certainly don't want the Yankees or the Mets or anybody else to switch leagues. I think if Tampa and Colorado switch leagues, nobody's going to notice other than people who are actually in Denver and in St. Petersburg and Tampa. Other than that, no one will care. No offense.
That's great stuff.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.